Hello and welcome to another episode of the Newman Show. Tonight's guest I have all the way from Florida, Roger Nelson. He drove up just to do this show.
That's it.
That's it.
Just this 1 hour show. I'm going to drive back.
Yep.
I'm that crazy.
And just to recap, I want to thank Sarah Martin for coming in last week. If you haven't supported her yet, check out her page. Check out Silent Envy. I don't know if you know Sarah, but Sarah's a movie.
Was that the movie? Yeah.
Yeah, she's a filmmaker, model, photographer, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it was when she was talking. She was talking about doing the outtakes for a horror film.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. I like that.
So.
I totally would watch
I'm
that.
a fan of outtakes to begin with. If you can do it in an action movie where a bunch of people are dying, why can't you do it in a horror movie where a bunch of people are dying? What's the difference?
It's entertainment.
Exactly.
Make them laugh.
See that, Sarah? So both of us are for...
Roger approved.
Yeah, it's Roger approved, so you're good. We'll get into the sponsors. We'll get into the show because we got a lot to cover.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
We're gonna be a little controversial tonight, so buckle yourselves in. We're gonna talk about what's going on with you too, because I want people to know who you are. But we're also gonna talk about the PC culture in today's society and how I'll say it straight out. It's ruining entertainment.
Very much so. Especially comedy, where we're trying to be funny. We're here to make people laugh, and when you can't say that, you can't make a joke about this, it ruins it. It absolutely ruins it. It ruins the fun.
It definitely does, and it's gotten to the point where everything is offensive, even if it's not offensive anymore.
Yeah.
But we're going to hold off on that. We're going to get to the sponsors first, and I want to start with Frank Zambuto from Kayla Logistics. Kayla Logistics, where your businesses are priority. Here it is. Our goal is to provide our customers with end-to-end logistics solutions worldwide. Contact Frank Zambuto regarding all of your international import and export needs. Frank also has domestic contracts with many of the largest coast-to-coast trucking companies in the USA for non-personal cargo. For the Newman Show listeners, just mention the Newman Show, and Frank will take 10% off your first domestic trucking shipment within the USA. Frank Zambuto and Kayla Logistics, where your business is our priority, and you could reach Frank direct at 347-536-3933 or his email at frank@kaylalogistics.com. Frank is very knowledgeable. There's a lot of questions right now with tariffs. Nobody knows what's going on, but he does.
I should use him to ship me up here to and from Florida instead of driving.
Well, mention our show and you get a discount off your first shipment, so there you go.
Hopefully not by the pound.
Yeah. And want to thank one of our newest sponsors, Felon for Life, Jason Martin. He is the owner-operator, and he specializes in Harleys, and he can fix anything on a bike, whether it's mechanical, putting aftermarket things on, whatever you need done, he could do it.
Rainbow tassels on the end of the handlebars.
He could definitely do that too.
Fancy.
I have a Harley. I had stock pipes, and if you're familiar with Harley stock pipes, they are very quiet.
Yes.
So we did some changes on there, and now it sounds like Harley now. Everybody hears me coming.
Potato.
And it definitely makes a difference. And Jay did a great job. He will save you hundreds, if not thousands, over going to an actual mechanic spot or a Harley place or whatever. He can pick you up. He has a trailer. He can do stuff at your house. But, of course, you're going to pay the premium, just like for a house call. But he's still, even if you're paying him to come to your house and work on your bike and pick you up, it's still going to be much cheaper
convenient, yeah.
than bringing it to any other mechanic. So definitely check out Jay. It's called Felon for Life Motorcycle Repair, which is a great name.
Yeah.
Because the handlebars, he wants to keep you behind bars.
I get it.
Therefore, Felon for Life.
I get it.
And you can reach him at 516-996-2780 or skullfan33 at AOL.com. And again, he does service all makes and models. Harley's his thing, but he's going to be working on my Ninja soon too, if I keep it.
You fit on a Ninja?
The Ninja 1000, yeah.
Okay, I'm impressed.
No, it's not a small one. And want to welcome another new sponsor. I'm just going to pull up his thing real quick. Sean from the Irish Pub in Baldwin. He's located on Merrick Road in Baldwin, in between Millburn and Grand Avenue, on the south side, for those who aren't directionally challenged. And the Irish Pub is a fun place. I hang out there a lot. You can see me, Frank, Mike, who's on here a lot. And it's just a cool place to go, eat, shoot darts, obviously drink. The drinks are very good.
That's what I want to do in an Irish bar,
is
drink.
The food is really good. And he's got a lot of stuff going on. Friday night, he's got karaoke at 10. And they're doing a $30 drink special from 10 to 12 for well drinks and domestic beer. And if you can drink like us, because I'm sure you're the same way, $30 is more than
it's a
fair.
fine deal, people. Check it out.
And then Saturday, they have the Ugly George show starting at 9. and $4 Jameson, and $4 Fireball shots, which is also a great deal, and $2 hot dogs all weekend. So
Man, I'd go just for the hot dogs.
Yeah, right. $2 hot dogs. I
Can't
get
beat
my
that.
money's worth for that too.
Can't beat that with a wiener.
But yeah, definitely check out the Irish Pub. It's a lot of fun down there. Like I said, we go there a lot. He's going to be having a couple of dart teams come September. I haven't played in years, but I bought some darts. I started practicing so I can get ready. I can't do the Monday night team, but I'm going to try for the Tuesday night team.
Sounds like a good time.
It's just a lot of fun there. You go there, you don't feel...
no pressure.
Yeah, you don't feel out of place. Nobody gives you a hard time. And supposedly the place had a reputation in the past, but since he's owned it, it's great.
I'm still stuck on $2 hot dogs.
Yeah, I'm $30 drinks for
Yeah,
2 hours. That's what I'm stuck on.
I'm more fat than I am Irish, all right?
Yeah, V, directionally challenged. She's one of them. We're going down. Now, you're from Long Island.
Originally, yeah.
We're going, and I'm going to confuse a lot of people here because I'm going to use some really weird words. We're going east on Jerusalem, towards a friend's house. And I say when we get to Broadway, is it north or south? She goes, oh, it's north. So I go to make a, she goes, no, you got to make a right. I'm like, no, that's south. Don't use directions with me. Just say the thing, the left or right.
My wife does the same thing.
Yeah. Mike says he's got free ball and hot dog. All you have to do is put it in your mouth. So that's good to know, too. That's an option. But before we get into the actual topic, let them know who you are. You're originally from Long Island. You moved to Florida. You're a comedian and a podcaster. So give a little background on yourself, and then we'll get into our topic.
Moved down to Florida a couple of years ago, actually in early 2012, late 2011, early 2012. Made the mistake of not starting comedy till I moved down there. Should have started here. I probably would have stayed here.
Oh, you didn't start here. I thought you did.
No,
okay.
No, I didn't start till I was down there. And always, my whole life, everybody, oh, you're so funny. You should be a comedian. You should try it. And a good friend of mine from up here, Jimmy Hammer, was trying to talk me into it. And I finally decided, I'm going to try it. And then Kenny Zimlinghouse, the guy I went to high school with, stand-up, he came down to Tampa, and that was it. Like, I went to see him, and I'm like, I have to do it. If I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it.
Right.
And from that first night, it was like, probably one of the best drugs ever is making an audience laugh. And I may or may not have tried a lot of drugs, so trust me on this. Make laughs, not heroin.
I'll have to take your word for it because
Yeah.
I haven't tried drugs, but I know exactly what you're saying. You get that.
Just
It's almost
go-
like it's
go
a
with the
real
laughter,
feeling.
yeah.
It's a high.
It's cool. And
I had the same thing when I was in a band.
Yeah,
You see the crowd
exactly.
singing back at you. And,
When
wow, it's over already.
The energy coming off a good crowd, and when your jokes are hitting, and you feel it. You feel their happiness, and you're fueling their happiness, and it's like you're giving to them, they're giving to you, and it's a great feeling to get a room like that. And once I got my first laugh, it was game over. It was like
Right.
I'm doing this now, and been hitting it hard. I have a unique benefit in that I can polish up my stuff down in Tampa. I can work the rooms down in Tampa, but then I can come up here and I'm doing polished material. So I can practice down there, come up here, and I look really good in New York. I look like crap in Tampa, but I look good in New
Now,
York.
what is the scene down there? Because obviously, from being here, the city and Long Island are very different.
Very much.
The city, you could do open mics probably literally all day and night long.
Yep.
I know they do them even in laundromats there.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Here, it's kind of limited. I mean, the open mic community is starting to grow. More and more bars are taking it on. More and more comics are hosting in different places. But it's still nowhere near the city.
The scene down there, it's, mics, I don't know how it is here, but down there, mics come and go. I've ran a few. One lasted, almost a year. Another one lasted only a few months. So, they come and go. So it's hard to, say I'm going to do this mic every day for the next 2 years because you don't know if it's going to be there.
Right.
So it's like a revolving door with open mics. There are a few that are mainstays. There's a place called Pokey's in downtown Tampa that's been going, for a long time. But the comedians are dead. They have a different outlook, and there's a lot of talent down there. There's a lot of funny people there. But the hustle is different. That's what I see the biggest difference is on the comedian's end, is their level of hustle. Here in New York, if you're not hustling, you're not getting anywhere. And down there, it's Florida. Everything's relaxed. It's God's waiting room. They're all just waiting to die. So nobody's got any sense of urgency. And that's what I really miss down there is that hustle and push. And We had one night. I was running a mic on Thursday nights, so there was I'm trying to remember the name of the place. There was one place early, then I was in the middle, and there was another place late. So comics could hit 3 mics in a night.
Right.
You know, which in Tampa, if anybody's familiar with Tampa, it's not a small city land-wise. So to be able to hit 3 mics quick was great. A lot of people love that, and we call it the Tampa trifecta, or as I called it, I was the meat in the Tampa sandwich.
Nice.
Right in the middle. But you know, there are a lot of similarities as far as the mics, the showcase type shows have a very similar feel, but you know, it's the hustle is different, and I love the hustle up here. I appreciate people that do it. And not saying nobody down there hustles, but there's more of it here, and that's, to me, that feels the competition and working together, helping each other, and still competing against each other. There's not so much of it down there. But there are a lot of good bookers. There are a lot of good
it
comedians.
must be good enough to get you where you are, because you get some pretty good gigs booked up here.
Yeah, I do.
Working with some pretty big comedians, obviously Preston Lacey, which is how we met you during the BBM tour. And this Friday at McGuire's, little plug, you're going to be performing with none other than George Gallo and Darren Dillon, who are 2 huge things around here.
George Gallo, Darren Dillon, Peter Wolfinger, if anybody is familiar with him. There are a lot of people who know. He's not a comedian yet. We're changing that.
And I'm shocked. I really thought he was.
No, he's a funny guy.
He's definitely funny.
For anybody who's not familiar with Peter Wolfinger, he's a bit of a Facebook or / YouTube celebrity. He's famous for getting drunk on his couch and buying crazy things. He bought a penis-shaped pillow. He had bobbleheads made. There's a company that makes bobbleheads. You send them a picture of yourself, and they'll make a bobblehead of you.
Nice.
So he had one made for his wife. He's bought a police car from, I think, Peekskill Police Department. Like, bought it, forgot about it, got a notice that he had to go pick it up. Didn't tell his wife until after he went up, picked it up upstate New York, drove it down here on a trailer, tried hiding it at his father's house. Thing fell off the trailer at one point. So that's his claim to fame, is these videos he does on Facebook.
And I know a lot of people can relate to that, because QVC stays in business from people getting drunk.
His biggest thing is it's Amazon, eBay, and whatever ads pop up on Facebook, like the penis pillow.
I gotta have that.
He gotta have it.
Now.
I'm trying to think of what else he's buying. He just buys crazy stuff. He's a character, and his wife is an absolute sweetheart. His wife Marianne is an absolute sweetheart. But I've been telling him, you got to try stand up. And he's like, oh, I'll do it. He's got a lot of things going on personally. And he's like, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. And I said, well, when you're ready, you tell me. I'll book the show. I'll come up from Florida. We'll make a whole big spectacle of it. And a few months ago, he had put on Facebook that if the post got to 3,000 likes or whatever, he'd do it. And it fell, we'll say, slightly short. It was a lot more than slightly, but it fell slightly short.
I saw you on your show, you did that.
Yeah, I was trying to push it.
And
it fell short. And then a little while after that, he called me up. He's like, I'm going to do it. Let's do it. I'm going to do it. And I said, all right. And I come up every summer. My kids come up, spend the summer with their grandparents. So I figured, all right, I'll tie it in with bringing them up. I'll make a week out of it. I'll book a couple shows. And, I decided to do the Newman show. And then I just figured, I'm up here, may as well do a show with
Book
Peter.
a couple gigs.
That works better, right?
Yeah.
But so we put the show together, and it's going to be at McGuire's this Friday night. There's still some tickets available.
Yeah, definitely. I got to see who's going. I'm definitely going to go. Actually, Frank, you're tuned in. I'm going to text you again later. If you want to go, let me know, because I got to order tickets soon, because that may sell out. I mean,
it's going to sell out.
That's a big place, but still, that's some heavy talent on that.
As of now, there are seats available, but they're going, and I mean, it's a great lineup. The $20 ticket, it's going to be the best show you're going to see for $20. You got George Gallo, Darren Dillon, me, Peter Wolfinger, John Butera's hosting.
Right.
So it's a powerhouse lineup. Not saying I'm a powerhouse. So there's a powerhouse, and then there's me. I'm going to be there.
There's always got to be an opener, right?
Yeah, somebody's got to open.
But yeah, Butera's great too. I mean,
he is.
He does a lot for the comedians around here, and if it wasn't for him, I probably still wouldn't be doing as much as I am.
Yeah, and that's
in the places I am. I've gotten into a lot of places, like Dangerfields and stuff because of him.
Yeah,
it's because it's tough at my age, to get people to come out.
Yeah, you're old.
Yeah. I'm almost 25 now, so
seriously, just turned 27.
But it's hard, the Bring It show is getting tougher and tougher to do.
Yep.
Because
there's only so many times Grandma wants to come out.
It's the same people supporting me, and they already know my material, and it's like, how many times can they come out? People.
So you got to write, man. Come on, write new stuff.
Come on. I have been working on some new stuff, and
Good.
it's working well, but it's tough. So yeah, Mike's had a lot to say. When we talked about Florida before, he said nobody down there hustles or has teeth.
That's not true.
There's
all right?
a lot of alligator teeth necklaces, so that's
Well,
not,
no, there are some people that have teeth. They're the ones that just haven't been living there that often.
Yeah.
Now, you sound like you're familiar with places like Newport Richie or Plant City or Okeechobee, and you're right. The people outnumber the teeth. It's bad.
For $20, he'll shove anything into any hole, and I guess
Wait,
he's
who
never
said
been
that?
peep shows, Mike. He can't be here tonight, but he's going to be active on here saying stuff.
For
so.
$20, they'll shove anything into any hole.
I don't know who specifically he's talking about, but if
Dude,
hey, introduce
Depending
us.
on what it is going into which hole, I may
Yeah.
do it for less.
Right.
I also may do it for more. Let's just be clear on that.
And you have a podcast called Fubar Weekly,
Fubar Weekly.
where your co-host is Nicole Raven, who is
Yes.
also a multi-talented person.
Oh my God, yes. If you think I'm talented, which you probably don't at this point because I haven't shown you anything yet, Nicole is absolutely. I didn't know. Did you know go-go dancers still exist? Like that's still a thing?
Well, that's why when you first said it, I was like, oh my God, you're like, relax. No, I was like, no, I just really love go-go dancing. Because
Yeah.
stripping, I'm not going to attack stripping, but to me, burlesque dancing and go-go dancing were just a different level
Yeah.
of entertainment. I love the classical stuff. There's people out there like Madame Reaper, who unfortunately isn't doing it right now, but I love people like that because they just put their own twist on a classic form of.
But
Even though they are technically stripping at some point, it's not really a strip show. It's I don't even know how to describe it.
But go-go dancers, for anybody, I didn't even know go-go dancing was still a thing. I thought it was like something that went out in the disco days when Studio 54 closed. Go-go dancing went out. But go-go dancers, they wear costumes and usually they're relatively scantily clad, but they don't really strip. They're just there to get
the
people
burlesque
excited.
dance is more stripped. The go-go dancers are, because
To hype up the crowd to dance at a dance
To
club.
be fair,
usually
though,
in the cage or
for
whatever.
people that aren't from New York watching, a lot of New York strippers, and I don't even want to say a lot. Some New York strippers just strip. There's no fun and games to it. Some work the pole. I've gone out of state and
Some
gone
work
to
the
strip
pole in other
clubs,
ways, if you know what I mean.
and I'm like, oh my God, these girls are talented. I'm watching them spin out the poles, do all these fancy tricks and stuff. I would go there if they were fully clothed and watch it because it was just such a great show.
Yeah.
Here, I don't really like the strip clubs. I don't go. I don't want to spend $16 for a tap. Meisterbrow, whatever. they're
But
giving
but a
out.
go-go dancer's job is to
Go-go
get
dancer
at a club to get people excited to dance.
Right.
You know, you see the girl up on the platform or in the cage or whatever dancing, and now you want to dance. I don't
And that
dance.
used to be a big thing out here too. Like you said, in the clubs, they'd be up in the cages,
Yeah.
dancing, get everyone going, in the silhouette.
So anyway, I didn't even know that was a thing. So when she told me she's a go-go dancer, I'm like, that's awesome. And I met her at an open mic that I was hosting, and she came. She did some comedy, and I brought her onto the Foo Bar show twice. And after that, my co-host was leaving. I said, hey, you want a spot? And it just worked out because it's like yin and yang. It's good to have a woman's perspective, especially since I'm misogynistic asshole apparently. But no, it's good because we have a lot of common ground. We're interested in this in a lot of similar things, but at the same time, she grounds me when I start going nuts, and vice versa. I do the same thing to her.
You guys definitely complement each other well.
It's a great mix, and we have a lot of guests we bring in. I mean, we've had Stephen Lolly on, we've had Preston Lacey on, we've had John Jacobs from MTV's Are You the One? He's a comic down in Tampa. He's been on the show. We've had a lot of Kevin Goatee. He did a call in promoting Comics Watching Comics. So it's a very active show, and bringing Nicole in, I think it made the show better. My co-hosts before her were great guys, but the chemistry just wasn't the same.
And I guess because of the go-go dancing and the comedy that she does, she has the comfort level
on
the mic. She'll perform to nobody, which is sometimes it's tough on the radio because there is no instant gratification here. You can say something hysterically funny and you just look at the camera and there's nothing. You just have to assume people are entertained by it, which is why a lot of people who are great on a mic on the stage can't transition to radio.
Correct. Unless you do the Jimmy Fallon thing and just laugh at your own shit.
That's true. Yeah, he's always got someone laughing. It's usually him, but
that's all right. That's all right. But no, it worked out. Her coming into to co-host, and an incredibly talented, very talented woman. We produce a show down there called the New Connections Artist Showcase.
I got to get that.
Where we mix. We have comedians. We have burlesque performers. We've done. Like drag performances, we've had singers, we've had spoken word artists. So we try and make a really interesting show. It's not just comedy. It's not just burlesque. And I got to say, with the mixing the burlesque and comedy, there are some really funny and incredibly sexy at the same time burlesque acts that we bring in, and it's just a cool show to see.
I got to get down there and like plan it where I could check out your show.
Yeah, man.
Your comedy, her comedy, go dancing, that
Yeah.
the show you're describing now, and maybe hop on your radio show if I'm welcome. And
Of course you're welcome. Come on.
because that would be a fun trip.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Maybe hit one of the open mics or something down there. See how funny I am in Florida.
You'd be surprised, man.
There's a lot of Florida that's South New York too. It's a lot of New York transplants.
And
so
that's
I'm sure
what it
they,
is. And usually when in a show, if I feel I'm starting to lose the audience a little bit, I always fire that out. So who's from New York? Do the little pandering thing. And there's always somebody in every crowd in Florida. There's always somebody from New York or New Jersey. They'll be like, "I'm from New Jersey," and it's like, sit down and shut up.
I wouldn't stand up and admit that even if I was.
I asked them that, like, why do you admit that freely? Just say you're from New York. No one's going to question. Nobody's going to be like, hey, your accent sounds like Hoboken.
Yeah.
No one's going to say that. Just say you're from New York. It's all the same stuff.
Now, what I like about your show is that it is a variety show similar to this one, where you're not afraid to hit controversial or sensitive topics.
And we've done that. We've had there's an organization called the Sex Workers Outreach Project.
I was going to bring that up because that was a great show. I was trying to get active on that.
We had a woman who came in doing this, to promote awareness with this Swap Tampa is what they call it. It's the Tampa branch of this Sex Workers Outreach Project, and she herself is an escort and talking about issues facing sex workers, not just escorts, but all kinds of sex, cam girls, and what can be done to help change laws. And prostitution is the world's oldest profession. Second oldest is politics. There's not much difference. I think that was Ronald Reagan. I think Ronald Reagan said that one.
But it's funny because on that topic, to discuss it briefly, because I really want to get to ours. People are so concerned about the sex trade and drug abuse and underage sex and prostitution, all that. And a lot of that is allowed to go on because it's illegal.
Correct.
And when I say allowed, it's not that it's illegal to do it, but it's like that's what you're going to get. Because
it's like anything. It's like you make
it's a way to have the human trafficking across border. Well, now that you're here, you owe us. So what you're going to do is you're going to work in this rub and tug.
Exactly.
You're going to be this type of cam girl. You're going to work in this brothel or this basement.
But even then, I mean, a lot of human trafficking occurs not just across national borders. It's not that just bringing people from other countries. It happens within the country.
A lot of people get hooked on drugs, and that's the only way they're going to get money for it. It's a lot of bad reasons to get into prostitution now. But if it was legalized and it was a choice, then you could have kind of what was going on in the Bunny Ranch, which I'm sure still is. But they had the special on HBO, the Cat House. Yeah, knows about Dennis Hoff and
rest in peace, Dennis.
Yeah, and he actually won the election.
Yeah, he did.
Which just goes to show it wasn't. He was pretty well loved in that area.
Yeah. Because
the girls were safe, it was clean, it was
regulated. It was
regulated, right?
But human trafficking, and just I don't want to spend too much time on it, but not all sex workers are victims of human trafficking.
No.
There are plenty of sex workers out there that do it willingly, but the human trafficking is the bigger issue as opposed to the sex workers. So
my point was just that if you legalize it, you're going to kind of knock out the human trafficking sex trade because. You would, I would think if you were going to go to a sex place, you'd rather go to a legal place than some shady underground.
Yeah, but at the same time, you stamp out one fire over here and another one flares up over here. There's always going to be
there'll be another way.
There's always going to be some scumbags up to some scumbag stuff. Yeah. So it's narrowing down and trying to take care of that and eliminate that. And human trafficking is a real problem, and that's something that needs to be. But human trafficking is truly a bigger problem than consensual sex workers.
Right.
So support your local hookers. Bottom of it.
So now to get into it, because this is we're already halfway through the show.
You're kidding me?
Yeah.
Crayola.
He's not used to this because his show is usually at least 2 hours.
Yeah, my show we go at least. We're not constrained any time, so I can just jibber jabber on for 2 hours. Sometimes we run out of stuff to say and we cut it short. But a lot of times, it's hard to fit a lot in 2 hours, let alone an hour. So
let's just get right into it. The PC culture has gotten so PC now that it's ruining all forms of entertainment, including comedy.
absolutely.
Which is why this is relative to us. And if you don't understand how bad it is, I'll give a few examples. You take someone who's well-loved in comedy and acting like Kevin Hart, makes a joke that really isn't even offensive. And I don't remember the exact joke. I don't know if you do. You can tell it.
I don't remember it, but
it was basically along the point of being gay. Obviously, is not a choice because if you're black and you already know what it's like to be persecuted for being black, why would you choose to be gay on top of that? Which, if he, in context, the way he said it was a lot funnier. I wasn't saying it to be funny. I was just kind of saying what he said.
But what you're running into,
he's a comic bringing up a point, and he got so attacked for that he was supposed to be the host of the Grammys, and
people.
He didn't really get fired because they said they would take him back, and everyone was trying to get him back, and he's like, no. He goes, you guys don't want me to. I apologize.
Yeah.
I did what I had to do, and I'm not. I don't want anyone forcing me back on there.
One of the big problems that we face, especially nowadays and in the social culture of today, is everybody needs to be a victim of something.
Right.
Everybody needs to play the role of victim. So even if it didn't actually offend them, I'm going to stand up. It may offend Dennis, so I'm going to tell somebody they can't say something. And when it comes to humor, comedy should not only make people laugh, but it should make people think.
Right.
And you look at a guy like George Carlin, who was an absolutely brilliant wordsmith, and his jokes were funny on every level. If you didn't truly get what he was crafting, it was still funny. But then when you realize the social implications of what he was talking about, it got even funnier. So when you get to something like that, and now it's, what is comedy supposed to be? Well, it's supposed to make you think. Art of any kind, whether it's paintings, whether it's sculpture, whether it's dance, television, movies, any art should disturb the comforted and comfort the disturbed. So it should make you feel something. Obviously, as comedians, we want people to feel happy and laugh. And if we can make some sort of change for the good in the world out of what we do, then that's just a plus. But I don't think, to me, there's nothing off limits. There's nothing you can joke about that you shouldn't joke about.
Well, here's the thing: is Jim Carrey said it's a job of a comedian to offend or
Jim Carrey's a
push
fucking
the line.
psychopath.
And I don't agree with that at all. I think the job of a comedian is to be funny. That's exactly what it is. But in being funny, you shouldn't necessarily shy away from certain things because you brought up George Carlin, and some of the biggest, most famous, most loved comedians were controversial. Richard Pryor was controversial. Eddie Murphy was controversial. Bill Cosby wasn't controversial as a comic and was probably one of the only clean ones at that time that were respected.
How'd that work out for you, Bill?
You see what he was doing behind the scenes. He was worse than the other guys.
Well, I saw a graphic that was great. It was Bill Cosby, the guy from Seventh Heaven, and then Al Bundy. And Al Bundy turned out to be the better father.
Right.
Who would have thunk
But
it?
you had Bill Hicks. You had Red Fox. I mean, these guys were controversial comics.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a new thing because even if you went back older and you went to guys like Buddy Hackett and stuff like that, they were controversial at the time. They made people uncomfortable to make them laugh, or they brought up, like George Carlin started with a goofy, wacky weatherman and a prop comic.
Yeah.
But once he built this fan base, I mean, he attacked things that were off limits: religion, race.
Oh yeah.
You name it, he went after it, and people loved him for it.
And watching some of his old, obviously it's all older now because he's gone, but some of the things he's joked, some of the jokes he made, I thought absolutely hilarious. He couldn't make them today.
I was just going to say, if George Carlin was starting today, do you think he would even be known? He probably would be shut down before he even started.
You're not too far off from my age. I mean, growing up through the 80s, we had Eddie Murphy's Raw and Delirious. We had Andrew Dice Clay. We watched that comedy boom.
Dice Clay
of the
did go
1980s.
through a hard time, though.
Yes.
He was attacked.
He was attacked.
He actually had a legit emotional breakdown on Arsenio Hall.
But Dice was so vulgar and so crude that you were either going to laugh at it or be horrified.
But the funny thing is, he was a legit comic, and when I say legit, he was just doing the normal jokes, and he was funny, but he wasn't really grabbing. So he came up with the Dice Man character and did it as part of his act.
Andy Silverstein became.
It wasn't
Andrew
even
Dice
his whole act; it was just part of it, and then that grabbed. So he said, all right, let me get up as Dice Clay and see where it goes. He ends up on the Rodney Dangerfield Young Comedian Special and blew up.
But what, you got to have something to stand out. That Dice character truly stood out.
And he had to own it. He had to sell it, and it was probably tough at first, but once he did, I mean, he still talked about it.
Hell, even Rodney Dangerfield. Rodney is not his real name. His name is Jacob Cohen. Rodney Dangerfield was a character that got created, and
the whole no respect thing.
That wasn't truly him. And he actually, I read a thing where he actually wasn't happy with what Rodney became, but everybody loved him.
Because Dice wasn't happy with it either.
No, and comedians that'll become big need to stand out. But going back to the PC culture, everybody. When I make a joke, I've made jokes that are offensive, and I'll give you an example. I talk about Halloween costumes. When you were a kid, it was either something you made yourself or like a painted garbage bag with and a mask that matched with a rubber band, right? Now it's a contest to see how slutty you can make a costume. You could be a slutty nurse. You could be a slutty doctor. You could be a slutty prison guard. You could be a slutty Ebola patient if you want. Forget about candy. I'm going to start handing out rape whistles in Plan B. Told that joke a lot on stage. It always hit. I made like a fucking stupid meme with it, with the joke written out, and someone in the Orlando, Florida comedy scene took exception to it and said that I was victim shaming. I'm not victim shaming. I'm offering a solution to a problem. I'm pointing out the problem.
And this whole shaming thing, it's got to stop. Just like they watered down the Me Too movement, they took something that was legitimately wrong, people getting molested, raped, sexually harassed, sexually discriminated against, and just made it about anything.
Yep.
To the point where even if you had consent, if you regretted it 6 months later, all of a sudden you were wrong.
Was it Aziz Ansari that?
He had a bad date.
He had a bad date. She meets up with him at his house. They go out to dinner. They take an Uber back to his house. They start fooling around, whatever. She decides, no, I don't want to do this. He says, okay. He calls her an Uber. She leaves. He doesn't pressure her into anything. She said no. He stopped, and she still tried dragging the guy through the mud.
Yeah.
And
you knew it was bad when she started about that. He asked her if she wanted wine, said yes, and he just gave her a glass and didn't ask what type. When you start your sexual harassment story with he didn't ask what kind of wine I wanted.
True.
What's the real story here? You just didn't like the guy.
Yeah. You wanted fancier wine, and he was giving you some boxed stuff.
Like she wanted white, he gave her red, whatever it was. It was something stupid like that. And I still, unless there's more to the story that I don't know, I still don't get the Louis C.K. thing. He asked women back to his room. They said yes. And right there, there's some presumption of something.
Correct.
You're not asking 6 women back to your hotel room to have tea and crumpets. And then he said, do you mind if I masturbate? And they said no. And he did. And then a couple months later, they got offended because they didn't know he was serious. Well, once he started taking off his pants, somebody should have said, whoa, 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 hey,
slow it down. Keep the monster in your pants.
And they're trying to say, well, his position in comedy, he had... okay.
They felt intimidated.
If you're successful, you shouldn't have sex with anybody or do anything with anybody unless they're an equal
status,
financial status or higher. Well, no, they can't be higher because then that person can be accused. So everybody's got to be in the same tax bracket in order for you to do anything. That's crazy.
The problem, what he did was consensual. Was it creepy? Yes.
But what's wrong with being a freak? Everybody's allowed, as long as you're not doing anything illegal. If your kink is 12-year-olds, that's a problem.
Yeah.
R. Kelly. If your kink is masturbating in front of a room of consensual women, who cares? It's not my problem. Do what you want.
But the whole thing with that is that the women felt pressured into saying yes. That if they said no,
now the take on him was that he was known for that, and if somebody said no, okay, I'm sorry, and he would leave. So they had to know that too if they were around the scene,
or they would just see in dollar sign, whatever the case is. But again, he obtained consent. Aziz Ansari, when she said no. Now, there are plenty of scumbags out there.
And they were fooling around at that point. There was some more going around with Aziz, and then when she said no, he stopped. Yeah. So again, that's consent.
Now, granted, there are a ton of scumbags out there that really did some scumbag stuff, and they should be outed for it and should pay the price for it.
Like a Harvey Weinstein.
But going back to the PC culture, everybody's got to play the role of victim. I need to be offended by something. I need to find that, the joke you made about, unloading a truckload of dead babies offended me, and you should be taken out back, shot, stabbed, drawn, quartered, burned at the stake for it because you're an asshole. You know, every topic should be accessible to make fun of. That's what we do. We make fun of things.
And here's how you end that. If you don't like it, don't go.
Exactly.
It was always the old Howard Stern thing. The people that hated him watched longer, listened longer. They made him as big as he was.
And that's
if
what
the
I was
people who
getting
hated
at.
him didn't listen to him, he never would have been as big as he was.
And that's what I was getting at. If a comedian should know his audience. So for younger comedians just starting out, doing the open mic circuit and the lower end bringer show circuit, you're stuck with whatever audience is in the room. You don't get to pick and choose. But as you develop as a comedian, and granted, you should try and steer away from those ultra controversial topics. You know, a white cisgendered male making rape jokes, not a good look unless you're really good at what you're doing. And if you're really good at what you're doing, then you're not going to be doing that open mic circuit very long.
But again, you know, whereas everybody's pushing for equality at this point, that's not equality, that's superiority.
Correct.
If a certain group could do something that the other couldn't, which was always white men for a million years in history that everyone complains about, which is not true if you looked around the world. It wasn't always white men doing stuff. But even still, if you're saying white men
Goddamn honkies
had it so good and you want equality, you want to be on the same level as them, not above them. So they should be able to do what everybody else can do, and everybody else should be able to do what they're doing.
But a comedian should know their audience. I'm not going to go...
You absolutely should know your audience, and I don't like comedians that are offensive just to be offensive. I don't find
Correct.
it funny. I'm not going to name names or trash people, but
they exist.
But there are obscene comics that I think are hysterical because they're funny.
Yeah, I do a whole bunch of dirty jokes.
Eddie Murphy cursed a lot, but he was funny.
But look at his bits then. You know, he does a whole bit about gay guys looking at his ass, and he could tell that they're looking because his ass is getting hot. And,
right.
You know, and he's calling he's calling the F word and not fuck the other one. I'm not going to say it because
you can't anymore.
Because I can't anymore.
And but that used to be on regular TV.
Yeah.
You could say
and
that.
he was throwing that around, and you know. You could do that and people not get offended. I don't think there's a word. I'm Polish, Irish, and Lebanese. There are plenty of Polish jokes out there, all right? You know, I'm Lebanese, which in and of itself is a joke. But Lebanon is a Middle Eastern country. There are plenty of Middle Eastern things that are offensive. I don't think I've ever found anything that I found truly offensive. Like, oh my God, I can't listen to that. I've heard shit that wasn't funny. There's a difference, but I don't think I've ever been truly offended, especially by a joke. And you know, a comedian needs to know their audience.
Jokes are offensive.
Jokes either
like
funny or it's not
like
funny. You either like it or you don't like it. I mean, a friend of mine down in Florida, she makes a joke about bestiality and uses my name in the joke, not just some guy named Roger. She'll point. If I'm in the audience, she will point at me and say my name during this joke. And the only thing I can do is stand there and laugh uncontrollably because it's friggin' hilarious. All right. Her dog licked her nipple.
Okay.
And it was because I told her that peanut butter was moisturizing.
My bestiality joke has to do with the fact that it's a true story that Louisiana actually had a state senate vote 25-10 to ban bestiality, which I found quite interesting because first of all, and this is the joke, you know, why did they have to vote on that? And who were the 10 that held out?
So that's inquiring minds want to know. Look at those guys. Check their search history.
On the way in, and me and the gator getting on the way home.
Hey, in Florida, it is illegal to molest an alligator by statute. It is. So funny. Don't molest alligators. The worst part about that is in order for there to be a law on the books, someone had to do it.
And not only do it, but had to get caught and challenge it in court.
But you can't molest an alligator, but it's perfectly fine to suck milk out of a cow's teat. Equality, people.
Well, it is Florida, so.
It's the land where men are men.
I saw the most Florida thing, and before I bring up, I had to say, to me, it was the most Florida thing, so I'm going to offend the Floridians, I'm sorry.
Fuck them.
It was a couple cut out a drive-through window in their mobile home to sell drugs.
Oh, it doesn't get any more Florida
than that. And I was like, that was the most Florida thing I've heard.
It does not get any more Florida than that.
But I wanted to, did you see the live in front of a studio audience with Norman Lear when they did a live episode of All in the Family, and
I saw parts of it. I think I did a show that night.
What was great about that is Norman Lear was really cutting edge at that time because he put stuff that was controversial on TV to bring it to light, to make fun of it.
Oh yeah.
You know, Archie Bunker was a racist bigot,
but Carol O'Connor wasn't.
Right, but at the same time, so was George Jefferson.
Yeah.
And that's why those two characters work so well together and butted heads perfectly together. That's why both shows were a success.
The yin and yang
They
people.
touched very sensitive topics on feminism and race
And rape, because wasn't Edith Bunker wasn't she raped on one?
she might have been. They touched a lot, but
Yeah.
on the episode they did the exact script, word for word.
They changed one word, and I think they dropped the N word.
They didn't change the word; they bleeped it.
They bleeped it, yeah.
Which is funny because in the 70s that was okay, and it was because it was controversial that it was okay.
Yeah.
Because they wanted people to know that it exists. You know, people speaking like children saying the N word and this, that, and oh no, la la la, it doesn't exist. The only way you can defeat something is to admit that it exists and then attack it.
One of the comics that I work with a lot down in Florida, he calls himself Zobo69. First name Zobo, last name 69. But he does a joke, and the first thing he asks, he's doing the pandering thing, he's like, who in here will call himself a racist? And every time I'm the only one holding my hand up. Why will I say I'm a racist? Because everybody's racist. But I'm not racist against one specific group. I hate everybody.
I don't know if everybody's necessarily racist.
Everybody has racist tendencies.
I don't know. I don't know if it's so much racist or if it's, again, if it goes back to being a bigot or whatever else. Because to me, and I know people have different, people make their own definitions up for words. I kind of did with racist too. It's if you treat somebody of a different race differently than you would anybody else.
That's correct.
That to me is racism. I know that's not exactly how it's written in the dictionary.
No,
but
and it's not even not so much even a negative thing. If by treating one specific group better is also racism.
Well, that's why
it's
I
not
say
always
differently.
treating them. Yeah,
that's why I say
And
differently.
it's not
Just
always
in general. If I had a black guest on here and I totally was like, oh well, I'm not going to talk about All in the Family. That to me is being racist because why wouldn't I treat that person with the same respect that I'm treating you right now, of being able to have an open conversation with them?
Exactly. But we as a country, we as a world, we as people, we need to stop being offended at shit. We need to get back to realizing.
Nicole just checked in.
Is that Nicole Raven?
Yes.
Hi, Nicole.
I just refriended you.
Nice
I don't
to
know
you.
what happened.
She took a look at your mug, man.
She took a look at me and was like, "Oh my God, he sounded so much hotter when he was typing. I'm deleting him."
But we as people need to just stop being offended. We need to realize dick jokes are funny. Most dicks are jokes.
Stop being offended by everything and stop looking to make everything either racist or misogynist or anti-LGBTQRSLMNOP.
If you see,
and what we were talking about before, the actress that played, I'm gonna mess up, Missandei or whatever her name was on Game of Thrones.
I didn't watch it. Sorry about your drag.
I always called her Missandei, but they always said it like put a Sunday next to her, so I guess it's Missandei is the way you pronounce it.
Misogyny? I don't know.
No, the new one, Game of Thrones. She, great actress, turned down a role because she said she wasn't black enough for the role.
Okay.
Now, I don't know exactly what that means or what the role was for or why that would really matter, because if you want to look at it, Will Smith wasn't blue, but he managed to play the genie. A lot of people aren't, what's her name wasn't green.
Actors.
So, stop.
Actors.
Well, don't get into that yet because I'm going to bring up the other point.
Come on.
Save it because it's coming. Then, if you remember, Ruby Rose, who was applauded when she was on Orange is the New Black for being a real LGBTQ representative,
hero,
being a lesbian or whatever. She calls herself, it's non-binary or whatever.
Yeah.
There's so many terms I don't even know what they are anymore. But she was applauded for being on there. It's like, good, it's about time. And then the same person by the same group was attacked for taking the role of Batwoman. Why? She wasn't gay enough. How are you not gay enough to act? And go ahead, now you can say it.
Actors, actresses, people who act, make a living playing something and someone that they are not.
I don't know if people realize this, even though Chris Hemsworth has a very good build, he's actually not Thor, the God of Thunder. He's actually Australian. So
Crikey.
I guess you got to cut him out.
You know, if an actor can play a role, whatever that role is, convincingly,
Right.
that's what matters. I don't go to a movie. I'm not going to go to see Batwoman because so-and-so is gay enough to play the role. I'm actually not going to go watch it because I don't watch that shit.
But again, you're watching it to see who's good and bad. When I watched How I Met Your Mother, Neil Patrick Harris as Barney Stinson was phenomenal.
Great actor.
And not because he was gay or straight, but because he's a great actor. Now, by that mental reasoning that these people are coming up with now, he never could have been Barney Stinson because he's not straight enough.
Exactly.
And that's just stupid.
No, but that's okay because he is gay. So
Right.
it works the other way, but not.
And again,
it only
not equality.
Yeah, superiority.
Superiority.
So, you know, when I go see a movie, which is very rare, I don't get out of the house. I don't watch TV. I'm an odd. I don't have cable at home. I don't binge watch television show. I don't watch TV at all. I watch YouTube videos, lots of them. But you know, when I do go to see something, when I do sit down to watch something, I don't say, okay, well, you know, I'm a fat white guy, so I can only watch movies that involve fat white straight guys. No, I want to watch.
That's offensive too. Because I don't know if you saw
Sorry,
anything
fat
about
people.
Fat Thor. Because in Endgame, Thor got fat, and people were, what's with the fat shaming? I thought it was great because now I don't have to work as hard to look
I'm going
like
to give
him.
you people an example on how shitty my life is. I got a bunch of crap for this. Did you see my post about the Avengers me posting an Avengers spoiler?
Yeah, and you know what? I kind of understand the people that were upset by that, and I'll tell you why.
Fuck them.
People watched from the original Iron Man. It was like 11 years of movies they were building up. And it's just like, so what? Okay, I know what you're saying, but if you really wanted, like, I don't know what you're into now. Like,
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
all right, but if you, like, let's say you were going to get a gift from somebody, and they knew what it was and they told you, you're still getting that gift, you're still going to open it, you're still going to have it, but it kind of ruins the surprise.
True, which is why I hate getting
11
gifts.
years of movies.
So
Everybody was waiting for it. It was sold out. Not everybody could get in on opening day or even opening weekend, so nobody wanted it spoiled like that.
What happened was, and it wasn't even an intentional thing, all right? My wife tells me, I didn't go see it. My wife, I'm gonna put the spoiler on your show, so I hope everybody
it's
saw
out
it.
long enough now, so we did a whole
My wife
show
tells
on
me
it.
that Tony Stark died. I watched the end. What was the last Avengers movie? The
Infinity War.
I watched that one because my kids happened to have it on. But my wife tells me Tony Stark died. I asked her, who the fuck is Tony Stark? Not because I was being I didn't know that Iron Man's real name was Tony Stark. I do not watch those movies, like, at all. I had no idea. It's not something. So, I'm like, that's Iron Man. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So because I thought the conversation itself was funny. So I posted the thing. My wife said Tony Stark died. I asked, who the fuck's Tony Stark? I had friends from high school unfriend and block me because of that.
They beat the hell out of a guy, I think in China, because he spoiled the movie. Or
Yeah, they probably didn't do that because I'm 6'4", 330 pounds.
I don't think
and
they would have
crazy.
cared. The whole crowd jumped them.
That's all right. but and here's the thing, like, so a high school friend unfriended me because of that. And I mean,
Now,
I
that's
live
an
this way.
extreme. I would have unfriended you over it.
Unfriended and blocked. Unfriended and blocked. Which, by the way, when you do that, that's the trash taking itself out, my friends.
Yes.
That is what that is. So it's like, okay, so I hurt their feelings. You know, I didn't know that, like, that was a big secret. I figured everybody, like, would know. I don't freaking know.
No, I'll tell you what. I give them credit.
They can kiss my ass.
With Endgame, they did a really, really good job of keeping a lot of things secret. Because a lot of times, just even showing the previews and the trailers come out, they give the whole movie away. They really did a good job of keeping everything secret, and then you go and ruin it.
As far as comic book movies
Luckily,
go,
I saw it before you posted
I saw the
that.
two Batman movies that had Michael Keaton in them. I saw the Deadpool movies, which I did enjoy immensely because Deadpool's an asshole. And I saw the Suicide Squad, which I actually really liked, and that shows how much
You know
I'm
what?
not into
I
that
liked
shit.
it, and people hated it, and I
Yeah,
don't know
no,
why.
I like that movie. So if you don't
I
like
had
the fact that
certain
I like
issues with it as far as the comics go, because the Joker was like featured on that,
Yeah.
but he wasn't in the Suicide Squad in that movie, so he shouldn't have been.
Yeah, and
Right.
you know, I'm not in. That's
And
not
I
my
didn't
thing.
like that version of the Joker.
No, I thought it was alright.
He was too meth heady.
Yeah. Actually, that's true.
And I don't blame the actor. I blame it was the character, the way it was written.
I got to
So-
be honest with you. I really only watched that for what's her name, Margot Robbie.
Yeah,
That's really the
I
only
watched
reason
it
why I
too.
watched it. I was hoping she would get naked, but she didn't.
And the funny thing is, they're doing the second one, and Margot Robbie's not going to be in it, neither is Will Smith, which to me, those two kind of made the
Yeah,
movie.
they did the rest
so
of the side.
I don't know what they're going to recast with whoever, but they got to work a little harder on this one.
But circling back to the meat and potatoes of what this is, PC culture is a problem.
No, that's the same thing though, because when you brought up that you had a friend from high school, which
Unfriended
was blocked you over something. I mean, how sensitive is everybody now?
That's the problem.
I mean, if I saw it, I would be like, Dick, why would you do that? But I'm not going to not be friends with you because you did it.
And you know what? If you're going to bust my balls for the next couple of months, hey, you ruined the movie. You're
there
a
are
dick.
assholes out there
Fine,
that when
I'm
they're
cool with
watching a
that.
show live will start posting what's going on. And you know what? Some people do have lives and work and do stuff. They can't always watch everything live. Let people have a chance to watch it, whether it's a TV show, a movie, or whatever else. But people like to spoil stuff just to be that dick.
But the thing is, it wasn't.
You're
I
gonna
didn't
end a lifelong friendship over something like that.
And that's the thing. Like, if she really knew me, she would know that I legitimately did not know that
It wasn't
Tony
like
Stark's
you posted it as a spoiler. You posted it as something.
A conversation.
It's not
I
like you
figured-
went and saw the movie like, holy shit, they killed Tony Stark.
Yeah, I like the whole thing was Tony Stark got killed. Tony Stark died. Who is Tony? The point of that conversation was, who is Tony Stark? I didn't know. So I mean, if I want now, I'm going to intentionally post spoilers for shit. Like, see, I'm just going to do it just to be a dick. So unfollow me. No, I'm only kidding. I'm
I was
not
going to say,
watch
that might
any
not
of
be
it.
a smart idea being you're a comic and a podcast. You want people to follow you.
I'm not going to watch any of it. Again, if my wife and I did not have that conversation, I wouldn't have even posted it.
Yeah.
Because I don't care. I just don't care.
But what it comes down to, if you really, really look for something, you're going to find it, whether it's there or not.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're looking for reasons to be offended, you'll find them everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Even
absolutely.
if it has nothing to do with anything, and I've seen it time and time again.
I'll give you a great example real quick. One of the comics I work with in Florida, I was producing a show, and he's up on stage. He was my headliner that night, and he's telling a bunch of jokes and that were about racism. And these women got up and came to me and said, he knows nothing of the black experience. And these two black ladies left because they were offended that the headliner does not know anything about the black experience. My headliner was very dark-skinned, black. He had dreadlocks. He knows nothing. It's like they needed to be offended at something. And then
and again, it comes to not being black enough for certain things. My girlfriend is Haitian.
Okay.
And most people don't think she's black.
My wife's
They're like,
Italian.
oh,
which is
good.
kind
No
of the same.
one here is black, and they'll make a joke, and I laugh. But now, this is really going to become a thing now, not being black enough? Or, come on.
Like, I'm waiting for somebody to
And
say...
I know it's not a new thing. I know stuff like that has been around for a while.
I'm waiting for somebody to say, you can't make that joke because you're not Polish enough.
I can't forget the guy's name, but he had a whole video. And if you Google, like, I am not black, his video will come up.
Okay.
And it was basically how we got to stop labeling ourselves. Because once you put a label on yourself, you're putting yourself in a box of what people are going to see you as. And that video came out years ago, and it's a great video. If you watch, I'll send it to you.
I'll check it out. I want people to think of me. The box I put myself in is funny, obnoxious asshole. That's all. That's
People
it.
are coming up with more and more labels, whether it's a gender or, now it's not even black and white. It's light, medium, dark, super dark.
I have an
Now
audience.
there's got to be different levels of white too, and there's going to be that.
I have an
Stop with all of that. Just be a person.
I have an audience that comes to see me. I have followers. I have fans. I'm going to tell jokes that make those people happy and make those people laugh.
What do you mean, those people?
You know what I mean by those people. Those people. I'm going to make my people that come to see me. I'm going to make them laugh. And if anybody else joins in and starts laughing, that's a bonus.
See, I know people feel comfortable around their own. And whatever that is, whatever their own means, it is. If you go in...
My own is only defined by people who laugh at dick jokes. If you laugh at dick jokes, you're my people. Those people.
But yeah, to wrap it up, because we are out of time, I told you that was going to go fast.
We need to have a part 2 of this sometime.
Yeah, we do. Next time we come up. But yeah, everyone, stop being offended. Just enjoy life a little bit.
Yeah.
Be offended when there's a reason to be.
Absolutely.
Don't look for them, because believe me, there's plenty of reasons to be offended.
Be offended when something can potentially cause actual harm. If it just hurts your little feelings, man up and deal with it.
So thanks, Roger, for coming down. Check him out
Appreciate
Friday at McGuire's. Check out the other shows in here. Cyclone has indicated with Cyclone right before us. He's always been a supporter of the show, and of course all our sponsors. And we'll see you next week. We're going to have a fundraiser for Rough House Rescue. We're going to have people from Rough House Rescue on to talk about that whole thing. and we'll see you next week.
Bye.